My name is Jim Herman. I've represented Social Security Disability and veterans claimants for the past 25 years, and I wanted to provide some information today that is applicable to any mental health impairment that a person may be dealing with regard to their application for benefits. I work nationwide, and I'm an approved Social Security Administration video site, which enables me to work nationwide as well. But we additionally have a network of other people who help us when we have needs that are in other locations. But we'll be happy to talk with you about your claim. I can be reached at 800-900-4440. 800-900-4440. I can be reached at wjherman@gmail.com. Herman is spelled Hermann, one R, two N's. wjherman@gmail.com. And like many of you, my email address is tied to my telephone, so I usually see that 24/7. So if you ever want to reach me, I'll be happy to talk with you about your particular claim. But the information I'm providing in this particular video relates to any mental health impairment that a person is applying for. And I have to read it because it's very detailed, and I have to give you the details, and I'll be happy to furnish a copy of this to you upon your request. The particular copy I have was the result of our National Organization of Social Security Claimants Representatives having access as a result of a Freedom of Information Act request to the Social Security Administration. And like I say, I'll be happy to send a copy to you upon your request. Doesn't really matter who's representing you if I'm not representing you. And I had to put on my other glasses, my reading glasses, so there's more glare, so I apologize for that. But I'm going to have to look down part of the time because I have to read a good bit of this particular document in order for it to really have meaning and relevance to your claim. But if I'm not representing you, I think that you should have whomever is representing you review this information, because I think it's, well, I know it's critical to the outcome of your claim. Many of our clients have a diagnosis, for example, of either depression or bipolar or post-traumatic stress disorder or some cognitive limitation. And that helps your claim significantly to have what Social Security calls a medically determinable impairment from an acceptable medical source. And in today's world, many times that means either your doctor or nurse practitioner or someone else who is on Social Security's list of categories as an approved medical source. But many clients do not understand that there's a more significant threshold to being approved, and that's what I'm going to tell you about today. The Social Security Administration has 5 categories of limitation, and in order to be approved, you typically have to have either a moderate limitation or a marked limitation or an extreme limitation. And let me correct that. More often than not, it has to be either marked or extreme. And marked is defined as you're functioning in this area independently, appropriately, effectively on a sustained basis is seriously limited. And then an extreme limitation, by their definition, is you are not able to function in this area independently, appropriately, effectively, and on a sustained basis. So, in other words, not only do you need your diagnosis of either PTSD, anxiety, bipolar, or any of the other number of mental health diagnoses and Social Security listings, but you also, more importantly, need to, or as important, if you're going to be approved, you've got to have, the listing and meet in these categories, either a marked limitation or an extreme limitation. And I'm going to define those for you in just a moment. But summarizing the categories, understanding, remembering, or applying information. Second, interacting with others. Third, concentration, persistence, and pace. And fourth, adapting to or managing oneself. So let's jump back to category number 1 and give examples of what the Social Security folks are looking for in those categories. I think I had my video on pause, forgive me, and I just not turned it back on. So in category number 1, understanding, remembering, or applying information, examples that they're going to be looking for: following 1 or 2-step oral instructions to carry out a task, describing work activity to someone else, asking and answering questions and providing explanations, recognizing a mistake and correcting it, identify and solving problems, sequencing multi-step activities in a work setting, and using reason and judgment to make work-related decisions. So those are the examples they look for when they're talking about understanding, remembering, or applying information. And in category number 2, interacting with others, being able to cooperate with others, asking for help when needed, handling conflicts with others, stating one's own point of view, initiating or sustaining conversation, understanding and responding to social cues, including physical, verbal, and emotional cues. In other words, you need to be able to read, if you will, the emotions of your coworkers as well as your own. Responding to requests, suggestions and criticism, correction and challenges of your work, and keeping social interactions free of excessive irritability, sensitivity, argumentativeness, or suspiciousness. So that's when they say, they're looking for your ability to interact with others. That's what they're looking for. And again, they're looking for either a marked limitation, which means you're functioning in this area independently and appropriately and effectively on a sustained basis, is seriously limited. And then, of course, the extreme limitation, which I read earlier as well, but primarily we're looking for marked limitations. The next category, concentration, persistence, and pace. Examples, the adjudicators and decision makers are looking for: initiating and performing a task that the person understands and knows how to do, working at an appropriate and consistent pace. If you're working in a plant or wherever you may be working, your employer is going to determine the pace at which you work, as opposed to what you think the pace should be. Completing tasks in a timely manner, ignoring or avoiding distractions while working, changing activities or work settings without being disruptive, working close to or with others without interrupting or distracting them, sustaining an ordinary routine and regular attendance at work, and the final one in this category, working a full day without needing more than the allotted number or length of rest periods, breaks. So that's what they're looking for when they say concentration, persistence, and pace. Again, looking for at least a marked limitation in order to find that path for approval. A marked limitation, again, is you're functioning in the area independently, appropriately, and effective on a sustained, continued basis is seriously, keyword, seriously limited, key phrase, seriously limited. And the final category, adapting or managing oneself, and the examples that the agency uses are responding to demands, adapting to changes, managing psychologically based symptoms, distinguishing between acceptable and unacceptable work performance, setting realistic goals, making plans independently of others, maintaining personal hygiene and attire appropriate to a work setting, and the final one, being aware of normal hazards and taking appropriate precautions. And again, by way of summary, they're looking for a marked limitation in those categories, not all of them, but within reason. They want to know really how your diagnoses are impacting your life, your total ability to function in life and to function in a work setting. And so the final category we just talked about was adapting or managing oneself. And again, we're looking for, Social Security Administration is looking for serious limitations in those items. And again, you don't have to meet either a serious or a marked limitation in all of these items that I'm referenced. Those are just examples, but just enough to be representative to really convince the decision makers, the adjudicators, that, hey, this diagnosis of bipolar or PTSD or some other perhaps cognitive limitation seriously impacts my life and my ability to function both at home and especially in a work setting. And so that's, I hope that information is helpful to you, and I apologize for boring you by reading. No one wants to be read to, but this information is absolutely critical as to whether or not you're going to be approved or whether or not you're going to be denied. So always remember the categories: understanding and remembering and applying information, interacting with others, concentrating, persistence and pace, and adapting or managing oneself. And if you don't hit some home runs in those categories, you're flat out you're gonna be denied. And I hope I've given you guidance and information to work with in those categories. I can finally turn that little reading light off, which makes for a little bit better video quality as well. But let us know if you have questions. Let us know if we can help you or friends or family members or anyone who may be representing you that needs additional advice or assistance. You can reach me at 800-900-4440, and you can reach me at WJ Herman, 1R 2 N's, HERMANN, at gmail.com. But thank you for listening, and I hope this information helps you.